lovers and friends, a warm welcome to Financial Freedom with Hanabi. On today's episode, I want to share with you guys how I got my first permanent job. So, 1, 2, 3. I hope you guys remember that board. So today I want to also show you the back of that famous board that you've seen on social media and also on the news. Right? So this is how I got my first permanent job, right? So at the time, this was back in 2016, I had just graduated and gotten my BTech. So when I started out, I did my diploma, and with diploma, you do S1 to S4. I did my diploma S1 to S4, and then when it was time for in-service training, I struggled to get in-service training. When I was struggling to get in-service training, as I ended up having to volunteer at a lab. So I went to a lab and started volunteering there. That's how I got my diploma. And after graduating from my diploma, the bar just kept on getting higher and higher, and it got getting higher and higher in terms of what they wanted for entry level jobs. So by the time I got my diploma, they wanted somebody with a BTech, right? So I was like, you know what, let me go and do my BTech. And at the time, I was doing the promotions. If you haven't seen that video, please check it out on the side hustles that doesn't need a degree. So I was doing the promotions, and I had managed to save money so that I can register for BTech because I did my diploma with NSFAS, right? So after that, I went and registered for my BTech, and then after completing my BTech, I got an offer to do a master's, right? But the issue with doing the master's was I did my in-service training in a laboratory. So my master's meant that I will do another schooling in a laboratory. So I didn't feel like I've practiced the chemical engineering job that I wanted, right? So I was like, you know what, let's pack the master's for now and go and look for work. So I started looking for work. The offer for a master's was in Feb. I remember I registered for master's and also cancelled in the same month. That was in Feb, and the board was in May. So this was done on my birthday, right? The first day that I went, it was on my birthday. And then the second day was the Monday. So my birthday was on a Friday that year, right? So yeah, going back to the master. So I cancelled in Feb and I started applying for work. I didn't get interviews. It was getting very hard. And I was like checking social media. I was on LinkedIn, checking posts and talking to people, calling companies. Like I literally did everything. Like I also did door to door, submitting CVs. I did the works, but I was not getting interviews. So one day when I was scrolling down social media, so I have to tell you guys, this was not my idea. Somebody has done it. I just made it famous, right? By God's grace. So when I was scrolling down or through social media, I saw the post of this guy who was doing, I think he did mechanical engineering. He did the same thing. He was in Sentin. So he did this in Sentin. And on the comment sections, I saw that this person has already gotten a job, right? I was like, oh, that's the new way of looking for work. I'm definitely going to do that myself, right? So I took it upon myself. I got this card box. I wrote it down, the stuff that I wrote in the card box, and I went and took a taxi to Randburg. And then I got off on that street that takes you from Joburg CBT to Randburg. I forgot the name now, but it's a very busy street. I got off on one of the robots or intersections, got off there, and then I stood there with my bag. I had my CVs inside and this cardboard and obviously a bottle of water. Stood there, robots open or close. I'm standing there with my board, right? First day, I was approached by somebody who was doing news. I don't want to mention their name now. Maybe they won't be comfortable about this. They said they want to interview me. I was like, you know what? I'm not interested in interviews. I just want a job. Then other people stood there with me. They took my CV. So like, we're gonna send to companies that we know, our friends, and right. So the first day was not that successful, right? The second day, which was on Monday, I went again. that guy came again, and I was like, you know what, let me just do this interview, no prep. Then we did the interview, and this was shown in ENCA. Yeah, it was shown in ENCA, and somebody took a photo of me. Obviously, she greeted me, she took a photo of me, and she shared on Twitter. Guys, Black Twitter is powerful, right? By that day, I was training on Twitter, I was training on Facebook, and I was on the news on the same day. So everything was like quick. By the time I got home, my phone was ringing non-stop. I would basically go like receive a call. The minute I hang up, the another one it's getting in. I'm taking, and I've got so many missed calls in that period. Other people are calling me while I'm in a call with somebody else. Like my phone was on fire, right? Like things were just like, wow, I was blown out. I didn't expect that momentum or that blow up to be that quick, right? And yeah, I went to interviews. Now I got interviews. People took my CVs. They were sharing posts on my WhatsApp. Like things were like on 240 km per hour. Like it was cruising nicely on the N4, 240 km per hour or 300 km per hour. No traffic, no nothing. Like it was cruising nicely, right? And I got also people that were helping me, like people who would help me, take me to interviews. Some would send me money so that I can attend interviews, right? And the company that I chose, basically they offered me a permanent position. So I went for interview on that company. So what they told me in the phone, they were like, no, we've got other like openings that would want to discuss with you. They didn't say it's a actual interview. So I went there not prepared. I was like, I'm going to discuss opportunities in that company, right? Went there and it was a formal interview. Things went well. And yeah, like things went really well. And they told me that I can come on Wednesday. They interviewed me on the following week. So I started on the 13th. And then on the 16th, that's when I blew up. And they made a interview for that Friday, and then the following week, which was the 24th, they told me to come to their plant so that I can do the sightseeing and also we can look at paperwork, right? So that's how I got my first permanent job, right? Also, that company, how they got to know about me, they didn't see me in the news. A very good friend of mine, she was not a friend at the time, so she was a student in that company, she was not a friend at the time. She took that post and showed to the L&D of that company. So that's how they got to know about me and invited me for an interview. So that lady assisted me. She's my friend now. She's a really good friend of mine. Her name is Keketo Chabalala, and she's on YouTube as well. So please do subscribe to her YouTube channel. Please do check it out. She's like, she has a very beautiful heart. So yeah, she assisted in getting me to be interviewed by the company that she was interning for, because at the time she was a student, right? So yeah, that's how I got my first job, right? By the board that I've showed you guys. And since then, life has been fun, I think. Yeah, it's been a roller coaster ride. But I think with everything, what this told me or this showed me was it's not all of us who's gonna get work through the traditional way of looking for work. Others will get connections, others will go for interviews, others will do internships and then get absorbed, right? For me, it was difficult to get in service training, it was difficult to get a job. So this was my way of getting into the industry, right? So I've seen a lot of people after my story like broke out that they use the same method to get jobs, and I still see them on LinkedIn. They're still doing the same thing. They're still getting jobs. So yeah, I think this method works. Maybe when I need promotion next time, I'll update it and go and redo the whole thing, recreate the whole thing, and on some 10 years later, right? But also I got to meet a very I realized that Black Twitter can change your life in an instant. Like they can help you prosper where you didn't even think it was possible, right? So yeah, that's how I got my first job, and the experience was good. And I also want to thank the guy that I saw on Facebook who did it first. I used to have his WhatsApp numbers. We started chatting at some point and I lost those numbers because my numbers started getting like calls from everywhere. My WhatsApp was, even when I started working, my WhatsApp was like very busy. And at some point I had to get rid of that. Like I had to get rid of that number because I was starting to be contacted from people who are in jail, wanting to be friends. They wanted pen pals from me, and I realized, oh, now it's getting dangerous. I'll be abducted or something. So I had to go like get rid of that number altogether. So yeah, that's how I got my first job, and I hope you guys enjoyed the story. Yeah, please subscribe, please like, please follow me on my Instagram page is FF with Honeybee, and I also opened a TikTok account which is FF with Honeybee, or you can search Malwandla Hanabe. So yeah, let's start talking. How did you get your first job, and how was it, and who helped you get that job if you didn't get it on the traditional way of applying, getting a response, going for interviews? How did you get your first job, right? So yeah, love you lots. I will see you guys on the next video.